Good morning, dear friends, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Stony Brook. My name is June Cerveni, and I am happy to be your worship associate this morning with our guest speaker, Fred Brewington, Esquire. I welcome you wherever you may be this morning, whether here in our sanctuary or attending virtually. We are one congregation worshiping together. Let's all give a wave to the folks at home. Our interim minister is the Reverend Dr. Madeline Campbell, who will be back in the pulpit next week. And our director of religious education is Deb Little. Please plan to join us after the service for coffee and conversation. For those who are with us online, if you sign off after the service and return to our website, you will find the link for joining our small group chat. Whether you are here or online, you will find some friendly folks who can answer any questions you may have. Let us enter into the sacred space of worship with the sounding of the morning bell. May the vibrations call us into this sacred time, into this present moment. Thank you so much. I have invited Karen Posey to light our chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. And while we do that, let us contemplate these words by James Baldwin. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our first hymn, number 1040, in the Teal hymnal. We will sing verses 1 through 3. Hush, hush, number 1040.
Good morning, beloveds. Wow. It is just incredible to see all of you here, and you're in for an incredible treat, I have to say, having known Fred for many years. He's a special, special person, so I envy you because I'll be back with your children. I'll have to catch it online later. This morning, Fred's assistant, office manager, and friend, and, you know, butcher, baker, candlestick maker, that kind of role. Rose Walker is going to do part of this story with me. So, in the RE program, we spend a lot of time educating our children about difference and inclusion, and about justice and injustice. Today's story was written as a way to begin a conversation with our children, grandchildren, relatives, friends, about the ongoing injustice of police violence against African Americans. The book is called Something Happened in Our Town. I'm blessed to be joined by Rose and to share the story. Today's story is a bit longer than usual, so I hope you will bear with us. Something bad happened in our town. The news was on the TV, the radio, and the internet. The grown-ups didn't think the kids knew about it, But the kids in Ms. Garcia's class heard some older kids talking about it, and they had questions. Lesson 1, your children always knew. After school, Emma asked her mother, "Why did the police shoot that man?" "It was a mistake," said her mother. "I feel sad for the man and his family." "It wasn't a mistake," said her sister Liz. "The cops shot him because he was black." "Most ancestors of blacks were brought here from Africa as slaves," said Emma's father. "Slaves had to do whatever white people told them to do. Even after slavery ended, white people didn't let them live where they wanted or go to school with white people or vote." "Are we white people?" Emma asked. "Yes," her mother said. "White people came here from places in Europe or Russia or other countries. Did our family do those things?" "Yes," answered her mother. Back then, many white people thought they were better than black people, though that wasn't true. And some white people still believe that most black men and boys are dangerous, but that's not true either. "Was the man that got shot dangerous?" asked Emma. "No," her mother said. "Shooting him was a mistake. It was a mistake that's part of a pattern. The pattern is being nice to white people and mean to black people. It's an unfair pattern. Suppose you had a birthday party and invited everyone in your class except the black kids," her mother asked. "How would the black kids feel?" "They would be sad or mad," said Emma. "And you would be missing out because you never know who is going to be your best friend," said Liz. "You can help others to be fair," said her mother.
Good morning. In another house, Josh asked his mother, "Can police go to jail?" "Yes," said his mother. "Why do you ask?" "That white policeman who shot the black man," said Josh, "will he go to jail?" "What he did was wrong," said his mother. "But he won't go to jail," said his father. "Why not?" Josh asked. "Cops stick up for one another," said Josh's brother Malcolm, "and they don't like black men." Josh was confused. "Why not? Some police are black." "Like Uncle James," said his father. "There are many cops, black and white, who make good choices, but we can't always count on them to do what's right." Malcolm added, "I could get stopped by the police just because I'm black, even if I don't do anything wrong." "That's not fair," said Josh. "What if it was a white man in the car? Would the police have shot him?" "They probably wouldn't have even stopped the car," said his father. "Sometimes white people are treated better than black people, but it's not right." Josh's mother said, "We're proud of who we are. Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King Jr., and Nelson Mandela were strong and brave black leaders. They showed us that we can stand up for our rights and set good examples for others. They were treated unfairly, but helped others learn to be more fair." "Some people haven't learned yet," said his father angrily. "Why are you mad?" asked Josh. "I'm mad that we're still treated poorly sometimes, but I can't use my anger to make things better," said his father. "Black people have a lot of power if we work together to make changes." His mother added, and you can change people's hearts by sticking up for someone who is not treated fairly. "Like how Malcolm sticks up for me when the kids tease me about my glasses?" Josh asked. "He tells them to step off." Just like that," his parents said. The next day, a new kid named Omad joined Emma and Josh's class. He was from a country far away. Omad didn't know what to do because it was his first day at school. He talked a little bit, but it was hard to understand him. He said he was just learning English. After lunch, the kids went outside to play soccer. Daniel and Sophia picked kids for their teams. All the kids were picked for a team except Omad. Josh remembered what his mother said about sticking up for people who are treated unfairly. Emma remembered what her mother said about unfair patterns. Suddenly, Josh wasn't alone. Omad wasn't alone. Emma and Josh were leading him to their team. "We have enough kids," said Daniel. "We don't need him." But Josh was ready. "Step off," he said. "He's playing." "Yeah," said Emma. "We don't want to miss out." And just like that, Josh and Emma gained a new friend and started a new pattern in their school. Amen.
Amen indeed. Thank you so much. So now I invite everyone to turn to the very back of their hymnals where you will see the Reeb Children's Benediction. And I invite my teachers to stand. Elementary is Susan and Katie. You guys who are in the K through 4 can go back with them. Wait by the door. And for my junior high, there is Carrie, and I'll be joining her. So everybody go to the door and wait for the adults to start singing you out.
Our reading this morning is from Reverend Rosemary Bray McNatt in her essay, Our Faith. By no means are we perfect. We fail as much as we succeed. Yet even when we have broken our vows 1,000 times, we return to the essential work of justice and liberation for all. We do this work best when we remember what religious community is and what it is not. Religious community is not a place to hide. It is not a place to get away from the world. It is not a place where we get to pretend that the lives we live and our particular situations are not terribly complex, often confusing, and sometimes depressing. Religious community is the place where we stand with one another, look the world in the eye, attempt to see clearly, and gather strength to face what we see with courage and, yes, with joy.
We now come to that part of our service where we take some moments for meditation. I will offer for your reflection a short poem to send us into silence, and Bethany will bring us back out of silence with hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. If you don't know it by heart, maybe now would be a good time to open your hymnals and leave it open on your lap. You are invited to come up to the side table and light a candle of joy or concern during the service today. You might wish to do this during the meditation or perhaps during the offering. Let us begin. Take this moment to center yourself. Receive the gift of your breath, breathing in and breathing out. Open your heart to this poem, to the people who have mistaken freedom for liberation, by Julian Jamaica Soto in their book, Spilling the Light. To be free, you must embrace the breadth of your own existence without apology, even if they try to take it from you. You must know not that you can do whatever you want, for you are not a kudzu vine eating entire hillsides for the purpose of feeding your own lush life. You must know instead that inside you are entire universes, milky blue, magenta, and gold, expanding. But to actually be free, you must know that you must fight for the entire universes inside of everyone else. Being free is not a license, but a promise. At each service, it is our spiritual practice to take a collection that we share with a local organization working for a more just future. But occasionally, in response to national or international crises, we choose to partner with a group working more globally. And this month, in keeping with the spirit of our 30 Days of Love, and in response to the growing concerns about the humanitarian crisis brought about by the recent horrific events in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East, we will share our plate with Doctors Without Borders. Doctors Without Borders is providing independent, impartial medical treatment to people affected by conflict, disease outbreaks, natural and human-made disasters, and exclusion from health care in more than 72 countries and territories, and now including Gaza and Ukraine. They are often the first and only ones to arrive on the scene. They have always been independent, impartial, and neutral, guided by universal medical ethics, committed to bearing witness and to diversity, equity, and inclusion as they remain accountable. So let us do our part. You may make your gifts in the plate or online. For those online, the link to donate is in the comments. Your gifts are gratefully received, and they will be very well used. That was wonderful. Please join me in dedicating our offering. The words are in the order of service. To the work of our faith, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives, and these our offerings. Amen.
Hi, good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce today Frederick K. Brewington, Esquire. He's very modest, but I am going to read some information about Fred, and he has to sit through it and smile, and he'll forgive me later. A product of his upbringing in the Lakeville community in Nassau County, Fred Brewington is an attorney with offices in Hempstead, New York. He attended the State University of New York at Albany, from which he graduated with honors in 1979 with a Bachelor of Arts degree, and further distinguished himself at Northeastern University School of Law by earning his Juris Doctor. He is a loyal and devoted husband to his loving wife, Adrienne Brewington, a former attorney, former district superintendent of Long Island East United Methodist Churches, and is a pastor serving in the New York Annual Conference. They are indeed a power couple. Fred's legal and educational endeavors eventually led him from the position of law clerk in a number of prestigious firms and law offices, including a clerkship at the Office of the Legal Counsel of the United States Senate, to his own gainful career in private practice. As a major component of his practice, Fred has opted to take on the challenges of civil rights litigation, from the successful challenge to the at-large voting systems in the town of Hempstead and the town of Islip, to preventing future unconstitutional and discriminatory purging of voters from the voting roll. It is through his efforts that many gains have been achieved for the citizens of Nassau County, Suffolk County, and other areas of the state of New York. Fred is also an adjunct professor of law at the Truro College Jacob J. Fuchberg Law Center. A tireless advocate and a devotee to representing his clients and community, Fred represents them compassionately and competently, honestly and fearlessly. He draws his strength to do so from God and from the recognition that many sacrifices have been made by many others so that he could progress. I was afforded the opportunity to work with Fred in 2020 and 2021 with a tri-coalition of groups, Long Island Advocates for Police Accountability, Long Island United, and United for Justice in Policing. We created together the People's Plan, a plan reimagining policing and public safety on Long Island. Currently, this same group is spearheading the Just Stop Unjust Stops campaign, a campaign to stop Suffolk County Police Department's unsuccessful traffic stop policy that targets Black and brown drivers and fails to keep our roads safe. It is my honor and privilege to present Frederick K. Brewington, Esquire, who prefers to be just called Fred.
First, giving honor to God. I'm so happy to be here, and yeah, I'll get you later. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, and I want to say thank you to June for your making me feel quite at home. We had a chance to chat this morning and had a wonderful, wonderful talk. And to Deb, who is not here, but wherever you are, Deb, thank you so much, and another colleague in the work. But I want to start out by just saying thank you to our musicians, all of you. Thank you. Music is a universal language, yes? and it helps to bind us together in the tether of a note that brings us together in love. So I start with that by saying thank you, because that helps us bring a foundation for us to have a conversation this morning. I also bring you greetings from my wife, the Reverend Adrian Brewington, who's not able to be with us here today. She wanted to come. She's been a little under the weather for the past year and a half, so I'll ask you in your prayers to keep her there. She is recovering from brain surgery after having a tumor removed from her brain. She came out, as I tell one of my linemen from college, I played college football, and he says, "How is she?" And I said, "Leander, it is amazing what God has allowed us to be able to do with science these days." They took an ice cream scoop, they took out a tumor the size of a tangerine out of her head, closed her head back up, and she woke up 2 days later and can speak in full sentences. She's had to return, right? So I give thanks for that, and sometimes we just need to stop and just realize how fortunate we are. Life is so precious. So I start with this afternoon or this morning talking to you a little bit about the concept of Black history. I want to be clear that Black history, we're talking about Black history in these days many times about Black history in the United States, but Black history is world history. Black history is American history. And as I look back about this day, February 25th, I was reminded at some dates that might resonate with some folks here. In 1948, Dr. King was ordained as a Baptist minister. So it's a good day. February 25th, 1964, Muhammad Ali and the Ali Shuffle took on Sonny Liston and won the heavyweight boxing championship. Some of you may remember that. February 25th, 1999, John King, a white supremacist, was one of 3 men accused of dragging James Byrd to his death in Texas, and he was sentenced on that day. February 25th, 1978, the first 3-star general in the Air Force, Daniel Chappie James, passed away. February 25th, 1989, here you are, sports enthusiasts. Mike Tyson becomes the united champion of the world in boxing. That's before he bit somebody's ear off. February 25th, 1867, as we go back. Hiram Rhodes Revels, sworn into the United States Senate from Mississippi as the first African American ever to sit in the Senate. 1867. So here we are in 2024. Take a second, resonate on that. How far have we come? How far have we yet to go? Becomes a real question and the bellwether for us to decide where we are in this year of 2024, the year of our Lord. And as we find ourselves gathered in this place, I guess one of the questions is, not only where are we, but where are we going? As we look back historically, we look at Long Island, and we know that there were slaves here on Long Island for a long period of time. Matter of fact, in the town of Babylon, there were probably more slaves in parts of this Long Island than there were in some parts of the nearby parts of New York. And why is that important as we talk about African American history, Black history? Some folks say, well, why do we have to have Black History Month? Why is it important? I take you back to the western shores of Africa, when millions of individuals were stolen from their homes, placed into bondage and made cargo in the hulls of ships, packaged as though they were human sardines chained together. And when the food ran low and the disease started to spread, you ejected that which was not going to be profitable in that thing called the Middle Passage. I bring you to that so that we do not delude ourselves as we sit here, brothers and sisters, together, to think that we need to think about Black history in 2024 as where we are now, because we need to understand where we have come from. If I were biblical, I would say from whence we have come. But I think it's important for us to now understand that in that thing that was called the Great American Sin, the act of slavery, there is a relevant fact that is necessary for us to understand on why Black history is important. Because it became illegal for those who were part of that forced migration to speak in their native tongue. It became illegal for those who were part of that forced migration to learn to read and learn to write. If 3 people, even in the state of New York, who were African American, gathered together on a street corner, they would be dispersed or arrested for conspiracy. We need all to understand that, but more so to discuss it. Because African American history, Black history, was something that was stolen from those individuals who were part of that community that became the slaves. If we don't understand that, then we find ourselves deluded with regard to the necessary and important aspects of why learning African American history becomes part of the importance of learning that in the context of American history. Now, I have been involved in a number of issues here on Long Island. Some folks say that my name is probably scrolled on some locker rooms in police departments. But that's okay. Because if you don't speak truth to power, if you don't raise your hand and even sometimes raise your voice necessary to get the attention of those who would say the status quo is all right and let's do things the way we've done them all the time, you know those words. Then we find ourselves repeating the very same ills that led us to the place to where we are now. If we find ourselves not willing to stand up and push back against the tide of racism, we find ourselves in a situation where the loud minority becomes the proud majority, and they walk the streets of Rockville Center down the middle of the streets of Patchogue as though they had full license to do so, when indeed they didn't even apply for a receipt, an opportunity, a register that we're going to take over downtown Patchogue with big trucks and masks that reminded me of hoods and say it was okay. Because we as a community should all band together when there is a level of unrighteous and inappropriate abuse of individual space and time that says that all people should be created in the vision of their right person of God. There's belief systems that take us from stem to stern, but one of the things that is consistent in the great beliefs in the world is that there is value in every human life. But when we are in our schools and saying that we should not teach about LGBTQIA people, we should not teach about what happened in the Middle Passage and the aspects of what happened when someone dared to say, I will not give in, and how the sting of a whip met the back of a defiant slave to the point where if you did not give in, you would be taken away from this place as though you had no value. The voices need to come together. We need to come together. We need to find ourselves united in one thing, if not anything, is that we stand for the value of every person. I had a debate with someone, I won't say who that person was in Nassau County Police Department, Commissioner. I won't say what that challenge was, but this is what I got from it. You can't say Black Lives Matter because blue lives matter too. Excuse me. I just had to go scratch my head, but you couldn't see what happened, came out of my lips. But I said, this is not a debate, sir. The fact that Black lives have not mattered is a historical fact. If you really want to know about the history of policing, I can tell you about that because I know what the slave patrols were and what the slave patrols became and why they were there to keep down and suppress the voices of individuals who were subjugated and under thumb. But that's not the debate here. Black Lives Matter was a historical relevant statement necessary to indicate to all of America and indeed the world that every person of the darker hue has value, much of which had been denied historically. But in this conversation that I had, I said, well, can you explain to me why there is an arrest rate in Nassau County, because I don't want to upset anybody in Suffolk, I'll get there. Why there's an arrest rate in Nassau County of 5.3 African Americans for every one white person that's arrested. But yet the African American community is 10%. I actually got down south on it when I said, explain to me. We arrest on probable cause. And I said, well, sir, can you at least admit, and if you want the transcript, I'll get it for you. Will you at least admit that there's a racial disparity with regard to the arrests that are being made? And here is where we find ourselves in 2024, because the response was, no, I will not admit that. There was a thing that happened on Meet the Press some time ago when a new term was created in America. It was called alternative facts. You remember that? Wasn't it Katie Corrigan, that her name? And I said, wait a second. If we don't have established facts, how can we have a conversation? You may have a view of those facts, but changing them or denying that they exist is a concern. So, as I had this little debate, and as we came to the end of that little debate, I said, there's a concern that I have that you won't even consider the fact that there are people in the communities of Roosevelt, Freeport, Hempstead, Roosevelt, Uniondale, Lakeview, Newcastle, Westbury, who are afraid of the police. And then the light bulb went over my head. Y'all know that light bulb, right? That's when the history came home. Because that was the plan all along of the slave patrols. To put fear in the hearts of those who would push back, for fear that they would show up at your house with torches and on horses and pull you out of your house, threaten your family, threaten your livelihood. If I'm talking out of turn or I'm upsetting anybody, I don't really apologize. But I do encourage you to think about what might it be that makes you uncomfortable about this discussion. And then with regard to that discomfort, the next step being, what can I do to address this discomfort? Well, I'm going to ask you to do something with me right now. If you have a pen or a pencil, and if you don't have a pen or a pencil, raise your hand. We're going to hand you one. This is an audience participation time, y'all. And if you got a pen, just hold on to it for a second. Tony, take a pen. And I want to thank my friend Rose Walker for reading this morning. She didn't plan to do that, but Rose, thank you so much. So here we are in 2024, and when everybody's got a pen, we'll get one in the back. I want you to say, how do we get to a place where we can have that conversation, where we can convince other individuals that we should be in conversation and be about change? Well, it takes practice. You can think about it. You can talk about it. But I have been talking about cooking a souffle for a long time, and I've just never put the ingredients together to watch it rise. So now, if you've got a pen, I'm going to ask you to join me. I don't like that one. Let's put that one. A nice blue pen. Here's a nice blue pen. What I want you to do is take the pen. I'm going to stay on the mic because I'm going to stay on the mic because we're talking to folks at home too. If you're at home, I want you to take the pen and I want you to place your palm out away from your body. And then I want you to take the pen and put it in the crux of your thumb. Everybody got that? Okay. I love this front row right here. You guys are good. Yeah. All right. Now I want you to take your other thumb and put that over the pen so it's in the crux of your thumb. Everybody got that? Okay. Now put the pen down for a second. Do it again. Put it back up. Yeah. Okay, yeah, we're not supermen, men and women. But okay, now what I want you to do on the count of 3 is turn it around so that your hands are like this, with the thumbs, with the pen there. Okay, ready? We're going to do it at 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait. Excuse me. Okay, maybe I should do it again. I'm just going to step. I'm not going to speak. I'm just going to step away right here. I want you to start like this. I'm not speaking. And I want you to go like that. And the pen should be ending up still in the crux of your thumbs, but like your hands are in a prayer type mode. Very good back there. Let's do it again. One more time. Ready? Okay, we're going to count together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Now, there's about 5% of the people in this room got it, right? And that's just about what happens when we come to election day. 5 or 10, sometimes 15% of us get it. And I'm going to tell you what it takes in order to be able to do this and then take it and do this. It takes practice. It takes putting the time in to develop that very seemingly small skill that's going to have a major impact, because I'll just tell you, once you do this, you can keep kids occupied all day long. But what I do want to tell you is that being able to turn that pen around is just emblematic of the conversation and the change and the turnaround that we have to be responsible for. Black and white, gay and straight, man and woman, tall and short, all of us have a responsibility within our community to push back against these issues that divide us. The issues that tell us it's not okay for my friend Peg to show up in a Baptist church on a Sunday morning and want to clap her hands and stomp her feet and get happy if she wants to. That it's not okay for you to show up at a temple and just say, I want to learn what happens here in this community. Those that say that we should be separated, because if you look at our communities, we're almost as segregated as we were when segregation was outlawed by the Supreme Court of the United States. God help us. My brothers and my sisters, before I take my seat, hear these words. So here we are in 2024. We are facing a challenge to our democracy and the free way of life so that we can treat each other as human beings every day, not just through February. I challenge you. I implore you. Practice making the change just like you would practice turning this pen around every day, as though our lives depend on it. Because they do. God bless you. My brothers and sisters, I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our final hymn, number 1017 in the Teal hymnal, Build a New Way.
I send you on your way today, dear friends, with these good words of inspiration and blessing that we may carry in our hearts. These are the words of Audre Lorde. When I care to be powerful, to use my strength in my service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I'm afraid. We extinguish our chalice flame, for our service has ended. Okay, we invite everyone here in the sanctuary to wave goodbye to the folks at home.